Ian, there are reports on the Bloomberg today, actually, that already we're hearing from the European side, okay, if you want to stay in, fine, but you're subject to every restriction there is. Is this a surprise? Did this come as a surprise to the UK?
That's right, David. If you cast your mind back only a month ago, everything was sweetness and light in Brussels when the UK and the EU came to an interim agreement and they were singing from the same hymn sheet. Now that agreement seems to be unravelling already because the EU have toughened up their language, toughened up their position on this transition period, which is supposed to take effect after the UK leaves the EU next year. What they're saying is, the EU, what they're saying is they want the transition period to be exactly the same, basically, as EU membership, except the UK will not have a voice, will not have a vote in the decision making. Now, the UK kind of expects that, but how it then gives that message to its people, how Theresa May, the Prime Minister, says, well, we've left with the EU, but actually nothing has changed. That's the difficult bit. And the more that the EU toughens its language, toughens its position, that becomes ever more difficult.
Ian, will this in any way affect the final exit bill that the UK has to pay?
You would hope that that is agreed now, that that's going to be around 40 billion euros. They agreed that last month as part of this interim agreement that I mentioned. If that starts to unravel, then we have got problems. I don't think we're quite there yet. We're just talking about the transition phase, and then hopefully in a month or so they can start negotiating the final trade deal. But the EU is saying to the UK, we need to know exactly what sort of relationship you want with us after Brexit, because actually the EU isn't very clear yet, and negotiations can't start until they have a lot more of a sense of what the UK wants.